Morning, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma here, alongside Ryan. I don't know, Ryan, if you have your camera on, but okay, I will turn it on then. There we go. Rise and shine, everybody. We have severe weather coverage here at 8:43 a.m. here on July 20th, 2026. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma, alongside President of Operations Ryan below me. And again, severe thunderstorm warning coming in right now for the Upper Peninsula. We have our morning batch of showers, which was modeled. However, again, a little bit stronger than what was shown on the models. And so we do have enough confidence here for severe thunderstorm warning in the UP. The orange box on your screen is the severe thunderstorm warning. We'll go ahead and read off the details right now. National Weather Service in Marquette has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for west central Houghton County and northern Ontonagon County till 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. At 8:39, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from 21 miles north of Ontonagon to 15 miles northwest of Porcupine Mountain State Park. Movement on these storms off to the southeast at 40 miles per hour. Hazards are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds. And it is radar indicated. Locations in this severe thunderstorm warning include Ontonagon, Porcupine Mountain State Park, Rockland, Mass City, Silver City, Greenland, Norwich, Twin Lakes, Toivola, Donkin, 14 Mile Point, and White Pine. For your protection, move to interior room in the lowest floor of building. This is an area with a lot of campers for sure. A lot of tourists out there as well this morning. So, if you know anyone visiting from out of state, anyone living up in this area, or if you're vacationing yourself up in this area, it's a good idea to take shelter in a sturdy structure until these storms do pass. We understand, if you're at a campground, best place to be is going to be in some sort of sturdy structure, whether that's a bathhouse or the office building, just anywhere where you can be out of the elements. Again, a tent is not a great place to be in a severe thunderstorm warning like this. Again, is 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail are both a possibility with this storm. We also have this line that is broken into pieces, and so there's also a secondary area of interest a little bit further south at the current time, just south of Bessemer and Ironwood, that currently right now is exhibiting a couple chances at some smaller hail. According to correlation coefficient, you can see a little bit of those oranges and yellows mixing in with the violets. But to the north here, the cell does have a lot of those cooler colored correlation coefficient readings, and so decent amount of hail likely occurring in there. Here's your main core. Current trajectory on this is going to be in between Ontonagon and White Pine. You guys have been hit pretty decently so far this year, so this is just another heads up. These storms are rolling in to the lakeshore here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And again, as a reminder, the movement on these thunderstorms is off to the southeast at 40 miles per hour. So yeah, it's about 5 to 10 minutes away from arrival in Ontonagon. It's the only severe thunderstorm warning in the state at the current time. This is where all the action will be for the majority of the day until we get into the afternoon hours. We also have a secondary MCS that is moving through southern Minnesota and Wisconsin. Depending on how long these storms can stay together today will depend on whether or not we can see stronger redevelopment in the afternoon. So if this rain can linger around, it's actually a good sign for the prevention of any redevelopment later on. I mentioned it last night in the briefing. It is still true today. So right now it's kind of a waiting game here until these storms do come on shore. But if you know anyone that is in Ontonagon County especially right now, these storms are making a beeline directly towards Ontonagon and, the White Pine area here in northwestern Ontonagon County. Storm motion on this storm is going to be 305 at 33. Looking at the velocity radar, which is your wind radar, it's a little far away from both radars. We're using the Duluth radar out of northeastern Minnesota right now, so it's a little far away. If I change over to Marquette, it's also about the same distance away. So we're kind of in that middle ground between the two radar sites right now. But at current time, it looks like the strongest of the winds is pretty much all up and down this entire line. There's a couple areas of downbursts, a couple areas of interest here. We're looking at this furthest south one that is about 10 or so nautical miles offshore. That is directly heading towards Porcupine Mountain State Park, Lake of the Clouds. You can actually see it on radar there. There's your Lake of the Clouds heading towards 107th Engineers Memorial Highway and South Boundary Road. So yeah, it's the White Pine vicinity. We also have a lot of strong winds mixing in up here to the northwest of Noggin. And these are going to continue towards downtown Noggin, as well as Lakeshore Drive, Bear Creek Drive, and other places in the vicinity here. That's apparently the only roads I'm seeing. Other roads are not listed. So it's pretty much this entire line. No matter what, if you're inside this orange box, you should be taking shelter now. Respect the polygon. Make sure you're staying in shelter until these storms do pass. We'll go over to the Marquette radar just to check it out. Get a better idea of what's happening up in the Keweenaw at the current time of the Keweenaw. There is storms rolling through. However, they are not severe. In fact, I did just issue a special marine warning for Keweenaw County. It goes through the middle of the Keweenaw County. And Ryan, if you take a look at the special marine warning text on it, there's a lot of places in this new special marine warning that just came in.
Yeah, there is.
Could be sitting here reading it off.
There's
forever.
your new warning.
Yeah. But that blue box is your new special marine warning for boaters. That does include the Portage Canal, which runs. Goodness. The morning coverage makes me really tired. That's the Portage Canal, so that runs across the Keweenaw Peninsula. That is basically what divides, well, the Keweenaw Peninsula in half. So Houghton, and here's your new warning. So not only do they have the special marine warning, but as Ryan mentioned, new severe thunderstorm warning coming in. This is going to be for Keweenaw County, the southern half of it, and northern Houghton County until 9:45 a.m. At 8:49 a.m., severe thunderstorm was located near Red Ridge, or 12 miles northwest of Houghton, moving southeast at 35 miles per hour. Hazard here, 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. It is radar indicated, so similar to the storm to its south. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof siding and trees also possible. Locations in this new severe thunderstorm warning to the north do include Houghton, Calumet, Hancock, Larium, Chassell, Lake Linden, South Range, Hubble, Red Ridge, Houghton County Airport, the upper entrance of the Portage Canal, the lower entrance of the Portage Canal, tree protection roof to an interior room, and the lowest floor of a building. Once again, it is 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds possible. Downtown Houghton and Hancock at the current time. The Marquette radar actually does show it a little bit better than the Duluth radar for your stronger winds. When we see these greens change over to blues, that is where you see the winds spike from 30, 40, 50 miles per hour up to near 60 miles per hour. And a couple pixels here, about 6,000 feet off the ground, showing up at around 72 miles per hour at the current time. It's going to be tough to tell whether or not that's mixing to the ground until we get some sort of ground truth. So if you're in Frida right now, you need to be taking shelter because these storms, especially this pocket of wind that I'm seeing here in Velocity Radar, is about 4 miles offshore at the current time on Frida Shores. Sorry, 4 miles offshore of Frida Shores Road. And any other roads in the area here, we have Frida Cross Cut. That's another road name, and Messner Road. So that'll be first up for this pocket of wind that's moving on shore. Again, the blues on Velocity Radar, that is where the area of interest is at. This is in the Upper Peninsula. This is nowhere near Branch County. So again, this is our first boundary moving through today, associated with a couple, mainly there's an MCS to the south that's in southern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, but this also kind of extends up to the north. And we have a reinforcing trough that's going to be moving through, or kind of existing, I should say, later today. And so that's going to fire up more storms, especially in the apex of that trough. That will need to be monitored for an all hazards risk later on, especially including tornadoes, where there is strong signals for STP values, so significant tornado perimeters, which takes your components of primarily wind, and instability and puts them into this main reading. That main interest later today will be primarily across Marquette, Dickinson, Menominee, and perhaps western portions of Alger and Delta counties. So a very short window of a tornado threat. We're talking probably closer to the 7 to 9 o'clock time frame later tonight Eastern time, 6 to 8 Central. So again, if you are in the Upper Peninsula, this is just round 1 today. We do expect more redevelopment later on. Of course, it all depends on how long this first line does linger, because again, these first lines, usually in the early portions of the day, can knock down your total instability for later on. If you guys missed our briefing last night, we do not expect storms to be in the Lower Peninsula until really after that 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock time frame. So for the most part today, Lower Peninsula should be home free. Of course, if that changes, we'll let you know. We'll be the first to let you know. The current time, though, severe thunderstorm warning in effect. If you guys are just tuning in, Ontonagon County and now portions of Houghton and Keweenaw County. This is in the Upper Peninsula, and these are in effect until 9:45. It's another 50 or so minutes on these storms at the current time. Storms now arriving on shore, especially the wind pocket in Frida. This is getting closer to Houghton, northern flank of the storms. If you're up here north of Copper City and Calumet, the heavier rains won't be impacting you. The winds may just barely be scraping by, but for the most part, this is going to be Houghton, Hancock, and points south. Again, if you are in Larium and Calumet, it's better to be safe and sorry, because again, radar data at this point in the atmosphere is very hard to see, especially with the wind data that we are given. So while on radar, there's no blues there, like we mentioned. In the Larium, Calumet area, heading towards Lake Linden, cannot completely rule out severe winds, which is why that orange box does extend all the way north here. So if you, again, are in one of these polygons, whether it's blue or orange, blue is for boaters, orange is going to be your severe thunderstorm warnings for land. You should be taking shelter now until these storms do pass, and or the box does expire. I think our main pocket of wind here, I mean, it's basically this entire line, but there's definitely some stronger signals trying to mix in. There's pocket number 1. I'll circle it on the radar. There's not really any good points to point out, but I'm watching this pocket here that would be heading southeast directly towards the north side of town of Ontonagon, and also rural portions north of Ontonagon. I'm going to pull up Google Maps actually to kind of help me in the background, see if there's any smaller locations that will be impacted here besides Ontonagon itself.
While you do that, Joel, I do have the Krups Resort cam in Twin Lakes pulled up. The storm is coming toward the camera here pretty quickly. Facing the wrong direction. This is facing northeast here, but as it passes over, we'll get a good look at it here. So this is looking northeast, as I mentioned, over Twin Lake, which is over near Toivola. I'd probably say the storm's probably around 10 minutes away from being over the camera here. So we'll see what the wind is doing at this location. There is a severe warning in effect here for this area. Although looking on radar here, I think the worst of the storm is probably going to be just passing off perhaps to the southwest based off current radar data, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's a couple of areas of interest here. We just got a new scan in, and it looks like they have a new downburst signature heading directly between or towards Ontonagon and White Pine at that southeast movement, Ryan, here. Again, it's really far away from radar, so it's tough to tell, truthfully. But that'll be heading for that M64 corridor. Right in between White Pine and Ontonagon, it would be the east side of Porcupine Mountain State Park. Also, couple areas of mention here: Silver City and Green. Those are smaller cities that are on the stretch of M45 here. There's Silver City. There's no name on it, but there's Silver City there at the intersection of M64 and 107 Engineers Memorial Highway. Green is a little bit further up. It's kind of like halfway between Silver City and Ontonagon here. So Silver City, Green, Ontonagon, all in the line of fire for this main pocket that you see is now downbursting here about 5 to 10 nautical miles offshore from your location. Also, that secondary pocket up here continues to move off to the southeast towards rural portions of extreme northern Ontonagon County. That would be the Sleeping Bay area. So that's a little, you can actually see on the radar, it's this little concave area here of the shoreline. And there's really no other distinct locations here. Firesteel and the Ontonagon Reservation are also in the severe thunderstorm warning for this pocket up here to the north. A little bit further north than that, we do have Santa Monica Beach. And of course, our main pocket that we're watching right now is already on shore, and it's going to be rolling into Houghton and South Range very shortly. This is going to be about 5 minutes away or less now from the M26 corridor, which runs from Houghton down through Twin Lakes, Winona, and down to Greenland. It's early. I do apologize.
Also want to draw attention as well, Joel. There is a cell down by the Wisconsin border between Ironwood and Marininsko area that does have a decent hail core on it. It's not a very big cell, but there is also, it appears to be perhaps a downburst signature in there too.
Yeah. Tiny little pocket there, blue showing up. Hail.
Yes, in the general direction of US 2 toward Watersmeet if that continues.
The GR2 place marker on this has hail of 0.99 inches, which is 0.01 below severe limits, which is funny. So that would be heading towards our Watersmeet Camwood time. Unless it continues to slide a little bit north, which still has a good beat line towards it. We also do have the Berglund camp out there as well that might have a good shot at that.
Yep. I still have the Krups Resort camp pulled up here. You are more than welcome to take it if you'd like, but still just brief gusts there and cloudy skies. New scan just popped in. Looks like we're getting about 4 to 5 minute scans today from Marquette.
I'm wondering if they'll change it as it gets closer.
Yeah, nice pocket signature just offshore of Ontonagon. Going to cross between White Pine and Ontonagon areas.
Yeah.
Very good gusty wind signature there. It's going to cross 64. Probably, it may actually make a beeline toward Ontonagon, the current track on this. Yeah, that's heading right in toward Ontonagon here. So if you are in or around Ontonagon, you should be in your shelter right now. These are pretty gusty winds on radar here. Of course, we're looking a few thousand feet up in the atmosphere, so data is not going to be as accurate as if there was a radar close by here. But what we can basically see in the mid to upper, I can't talk. I'm with you, Joel. It's morning. Mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. There is some pretty gusty winds showing up here on the radar, just offshore of Ontonagon.
We do have some of our rain already arriving at Noggin. Also, another hazard out there, as you can see on radar. Check out all those lightning strikes. Very electric morning out there. A lot of fuel for these thunderstorms to develop. And so this line will continue over towards Baraga, Houghton, and portions of Gogebic and Iron counties with time. So again, if these storms can stay together, that's going to be something to monitor for the remainder of the day. the current time we're worrying about what's ongoing right now, there's quite that downburst signature right now with some pretty large hail actually showing up. Perhaps here on radar. I'm going to go ahead and take a cross section of this just to double check, because that hail marker here, according to GR2 software, says 2 inches, and it's a pretty big core, up to 35,000 feet at the current time. DBZ values in the center of that core, actually cut like right through the center of it, up around 70. So it's not showing up down at our lowest scan, but there's some 70 DBZ values in here, which is rain droplets that are basically the size of your thumb. And those rain droplets can and will turn into hailstones as they become supercooled liquid, tumbling around the updraft of the thunderstorm. Again, the freezing layer out there will do wonders for this storm. See if we get a better scan on this here. That's a big area. Switch my source. There's the Volumetric Explorer. Okanagan is just off here on the right side of the screen. But this is heading towards the Silver City area. And you can see the cloud tops. Cloud tops, by the way, right now, Ryan, 57,000 feet with a hail core up to around 35,000 feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I'll say I have the heaviest precipitation. I also have the outer precipitation showing here on the Volumetric Explorer, so you can see the edge of the clouds. You can also see where the hail is getting up to in the atmosphere in the pinks. So quite the impressive signature at the current time inside this line of storms. Would not be surprised if they upgraded the hail on it. And again, it's a matter of time before we see how the winds come on shore through Okanagan. But if you are in anywhere in Okanagan County, especially western right now, or if you know anybody in western Onondaga County, you need to be letting them know to be taking shelter immediately. This is not a storm to be messing around with. We saw it earlier this year where we had 70-mile-per-hour winds blasting Onondaga. There was plenty of damage with that. It's kind of the same situation out there. We don't know if it's going to be gusting down to 70 at the surface, but there's good signs right now of elevated wind gusts up and down the area. In fact, it has moved onshore now in the Silver City region. It's now moving into green in Okanagan within the next 5 minutes. White Pine, same thing there. And again, all the way up to the north, impacting places such as Sleeping Bay, Okanagan Reservation, and eventually heading towards Firesteel and Santa Monica Beach. I also do have Misery Bay, which is also another location in this line of storm. So we'll have to keep an eye out on the outage map as well, because again, gusty winds are the main hazard, but again, they do have 1-inch hail listed in the severe thunderstorm warning. For both of these storms, also up to the north, the winds are now arriving in Houghton and South Range, and down to the south, we'll be passing over our Twin Lakes camera very, very soon. And also, it is starting to attach itself down here in the Bergland area. So this could be quite the line of storms as it congeals, moving across the Upper Peninsula this morning.
I do have the Krebs Resort Cam still pulled up and ready to go if you need it. Also, keeping a close eye on the power outage map. The only outages that I'm seeing right now, there are 15 customers without power within Ontonagon County. I do not know if those are new or if they popped up recently, but we'll just say our starting number is 15. We'll see if it goes up from there.
Yep.
Keeping a close eye down there where you mentioned that line filling in by Bergland. There's another cell popping up just west of White Pine with a good hail core on it. And south of there toward the Winchester, Wisconsin, Marinisco, Michigan area along US 2. That cell continues to look pretty impressive with its hail core there. No warning in effect for those cells, but wouldn't be shocked to get a statement at some point, or perhaps another warning if those continue to intensify.
If you guys are just tuning in, it's 9:08 a.m. These severe thunderstorm warnings on your screen that are in the orange boxes in effect till 9:45 for places such as Ontonagon, northern Houghton, and southern Keweenaw counties. You have multiple pockets of wind showing up on radar at the current time in Houghton and South Range, all the way down into the White Pine and Ontonagon areas, as well as Silver City and Green, heading towards Rockland and Greenland with time right on down that US 45 corridor and M38. So you do need to be on alert this morning for this first line of storms, which was modeled, although not at the intensity that was modeled. So it did have them existing. It just did not have them being severe this long. So quite the wake-up call if you, again, are camping up here, especially now in Ogden County right now. These storms have actually just bypassed, just barely, portions of Porcupine Mountain State Park. It looks like it got clipped. So hopefully everyone's all right there. But inland portions of Ontonagon County and now inland portions of Houghton County being impacted. Downtown Houghton already being impacted at the current time. If you're up here in the Keweenaw Peninsula, primarily north of Larium and Calumet, you guys should be good. There's no warning for you. Just some rain and some thunder at the current time. If you are downstream, that would be... I know there's a bunch of smaller cities out here. Sometimes you'll go to Google Maps and check them out. Chassell, Arnheim, Keweenaw Bay, and Baraga itself. These storms are heading your way as well as towards the L'Anse area and L'Anse Reservation. And eventually, if it does cross the bay, it would be hitting places like Pequaming and Aura. The south, Pelkey, Hazel, Alston, Nisula, and White. Frost. And then further south down towards the Ballatmore, Ewen, Topaz, and Bruce Crossing area. So that is all places up next for this line of storms. Newest scan has some winds here of perhaps 80 miles per hour. It's 8,000 feet off the ground, so it's tough to tell. But go ahead, Ryan.
Krups Resort Cam, we have I believe the leading edge of that storm passing over. Getting pretty gusty here too underneath that shelf. You can see the surf on the lake there, and also the winds picking up with the trees.
It's raining leaves again.
Ontonagon's about to get impacted by that secondary. They had one skirt by to the north there, but the main line's about to move right into Ontonagon in a matter of probably 2 or 3 minutes. And as you're mentioning, Joel, just south and west of Ontonagon, there's a little bit of a pocket there near White Pine along M64, where it's showing up as close to 80 mile per hour winds, about 8,000 feet off the ground. If those are verifying, that's going to be over LP Walsh Road, as well as Potato Farm Road.
I also have Town Line and Quartz on my radar. But yeah, Potato Farm as well. Actually,
yeah, a lot of
actually it's Pat-tato.
Is it?
Oh wait, no, there's Potato and Pat-tato. That's crazy.
Huh?
Yeah, there's two roads here. I have Potato and Pat-tato. For some reason it says on my radar. I don't know if that's correct, but
I have both. I have an east-west and north-south. Both say Potato on mine.
It must be bad. It must be bad GIS data then.
I'm going to Google Maps at this point.
GIS is lying to me. Oh, it is Potato. Okay. So my GIS data is just bad. Good to know. So it is Potato Road then. If you guys are up here in Ontonagon, we are looking for any sort of damage reports or any sort of verification, because that will be handy to task over to the National Weather Service Marquette as to whether or not they'll be able to continue their warnings with verification or not. At the current time, of course, we're just going off radar data. There is some very strong wind signatures here on the right side of your screen. That is velocity radar, where those greens change to blues. Those are going to be your winds over 60 miles per hour. Now, however, the distance away from these storms is providing kind of not so great data. So we're looking at storms that are at the lowest elevation, 8,000 to 8,200 feet off the ground. It's the lowest scan that we have. So anything below 8,200 feet, we can't see. So that whether that's wind data, hail data below 8,200 feet, or any sort of other data that is crucial for ground-based truth, it is tough to tell because, again, there is a radar gap here in the western UP. But what we're going off of right now is there are 80-mile-per-hour winds showing up here on our velocity data between White Pine and Green and Ontonagon. Also, can't discount any of these blues up and down the line at 60 to 70 miles per hour, all the way up to the north, all the way up to the Zafrida and Houghton areas. And so anywhere you are at inside this orange box, you need to be taking shelter. How's the wind right now at Krups Resort? Let's check it out.
About the same. Hasn't really increased or anything, but there is a nice orange hue on the horizon, making it kind of picturesque. Still no update on the outage map, so let's hope that's a good thing.
I kind of, for whatever reason, find myself trying to do like the swipe function that we have that's coming in our new MSC app. I realize we don't have it on GR2 software. That's okay.
It'll be nice once we do have that up and running. Wind is picking up just a tad bit, it looks like.
Our pockets of 80 have kind of disappeared, which is good, but again, still really far away from the radar site. Still seeing a 78-mile-per-hour pixel out there in LP Walsh. Is just outside of White Pine. A lot of lightning as well showing up in this line of storms. So you zoom out, you can really see the lightning density. I'll change it back to my radar. But again, those pockets of 80 to 85 are being substituted out for 70 to 75, which is not much improvement. It's a little bit of improvement. But again, we can't really see what's happening at the surface. We're just going off of data that is 1.5 miles up above the ground. So do take these storms very seriously if you are in these orange polygons. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect here for portions of west central Houghton and northern Ontonagon through 9:45. 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Also, the north, the second severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Keweenaw County, southern Keweenaw County, and northern Houghton County until 9:45. Once again, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail. They also did improve, not improve, but I guess you can say improve because it's got worse. But the severe or special marine warning now in effect for 50 knots in large hail instead of 40 knots in large hail, which makes sense. It does line up pretty well with the severe thunderstorm warning text. So if you're out boating here across the region, especially in the Keweenaw Bay, you need to be taking safe harbor immediately. Anywhere north of Lance, all the way up into this blue box, which is extending to the waters offshore from, let's see here, that's going to be, that's well north, so that's going to be up here towards the Traverse Bay and Gay areas of the Keweenaw Bay, which is basically open waters of Lake Superior at the current time. So again, if you're anywhere inside one of these polygons this morning, you are at risk for severe weather. The blue box is basically the equivalent of a severe thunderstorm warning on the waters, so you do want to take it seriously if you're out boating. If you're just tuning in, or if you know anybody up in this area, show you care, like, and share, as we always say. You never know who you're helping, especially if you just hit the like button. It does go a long ways in boosting out to your fellow Michiganders. Again, a lot of people out here in rural portions of the Upper Peninsula And of course, in some of the more populated portions of the Upper Peninsula, such as Houghton, Noggin, down here towards the Bruce Crossing area, over towards Lance. A couple decent population centers here in these severe thunderstorm warnings this morning. And so again, sharing this information is going to be crucial in getting out the warning in a timely manner. Right now, that warning is very crucial. It's in Onondaga right now. Up next is going to be Berglund, Rockland, Winona, up to the north towards the Keweenaw Bay and Lance area. Good news is we haven't lost our Krups Resort cam yet there in Twin Lakes, so keep our fingers crossed.
We added one customer out of power in Ontonagon, now 15 total.
I thought we were already at 15.
14.
We lost.
Are we at 15?
Yeah, so now we're down to 14?
No, we're at 15 now. I thought we were at 14 though.
No, we're at 15.
Interesting.
No outages in Gogebic or Houghton either at the current time. So hopefully this wind is not mixing to the ground. But again, it is rural portions of the state. And so even if there's no outages coming in, you can still have very gusty winds. It just might mean that the power lines are well built or buried or something of the matter. And so you still want to be taking it seriously, regardless if there's no severe no outages coming in, excuse me.
I don't see any reports on our page either. That are coming in, so no messages, no comments.
Sweet.
Camera here in Berglund, courtesy of Timberline Sports, facing to the southeast here, does show some gusty winds, and you can see on the tree line in the distance there. But for right now, it's just mostly garden variety rain. New warning coming in appears.
Yep.
Big one.
A lot of confidence right now in this continuing at least 60-mile-per-hour winds. Boy, it goes all the way out to Marquette County. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Go back to the radar.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counties. 5 counties.
Portions of, yes. National Weather Service Marquette has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northeastern Iron, west central Marquette, southwestern Houghton, Baraga County, and a tiny sliver of northeastern Ontonagon County, all in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan until 10:15 a.m. Eastern, or 9:15 a.m. Central Time if you're in Iron County. At 9:20 a.m. Eastern, 8:20 a.m. Central, severe thunderstorms will locate along a line extending from near the lower entrance of the Portage Canal to Rockland, moving southeast at 50 miles per hour. It's a little bit faster than the 35 to 40 that was projected in these earlier warnings. Hazard still remains 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. It is radar indicated. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof-setting trees also possible. Locations in this new orange box you see on your screen include Baraga, Lance, Covington, Michigami, Champion, Alberta, US 141 between Covington and Amasa, Keweenaw Bay, Nisula, Lake Michigami, Three Lakes, and Canyon Falls. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Once again, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds moving through. Ryan, how's the Twin Lakes cam going? Because this is right
I have it pulled up.
for that line.
It's pretty calm there, just rain. The winds at least are calm.
Yeah, the winds don't look to be severe in that spot, but it's tough to tell if there might be a secondary pocket forming here. Actually, there actually is. It's still off to the west. So we saw that initial push of wind with the edge of the precipitation, and there is actually embedded wind back within the storm. And I think did see a comment saying that there is some power outages now coming in from Noggin, but I have not yet seen that on our software in the backside of things. It doesn't mean it's not happening, of course. We just don't see it on our end. But ground truth, very, very important. So if you are reporting anything in Noggin or surrounding areas, please send that over to us immediately. Damage or any sort of power outage reports, and we'll toss it over to the National Weather Service as soon as possible. And I was wondering if they were going to do that and fill it into the cell. It looks like they are going to go ahead and do that. As you can see on radar here, they went northern sliver, and now new severe thunderstorm warning coming in for what will likely be the southern sliver.
Are we thinking RIJ here, Joel, on the back end of this? Is that what you're kind of getting at?
No, I just noticed that there's just a decent pocket of wind all up and down this line, and so it was really weird that they only warned the northern half, but I can see that they're doing the southern half now as well. Especially since, you know, that this is the area where we saw those 70 to 80s popping up at 8,000 feet. And those are going to be leaving this first severe thunderstorm warning here very, very quickly. But there's your new orange box. It doesn't really look like an RIJ in my opinion. It's just a very strong line of storms. We do have some convergence of winds, though, that we'll need to keep an eye on just to the south of Berglund at the current time. National Weather Service Marquette. This is also a big severe thunderstorm warning for multiple counties. National Weather Service Marquette has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Iron, east central Gogebic, southwestern Houghton, southwestern Baraga, and southeastern Ontonagon counties until 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. At 9:23 E, 8:23 C, since severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from near Mass City, it's 9 miles east of Marinisco. And movement is off to the southeast at 45 miles per hour. Hazards here are going to be 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. Wind damage to vehicles expected. Wind damage or hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof-siding trees also possible to likely. In this new severe thunderstorm warning, we have locations such as Watersmeet, Rockland, Kenton, Bruce Crossing, Mass City, Paulding, US 141 between Covington and Amasa, Sidnaw, Greenland, Norwich, Trout Creek, and Tamarack Lake. For your protection, move to an interior on the lowest floor of the building. If you are out camping, sturdy structure is the place to be. That's what it was. It's Amasa. I was trying to remember that pronunciation. I didn't remember if it was M-A-Y in the middle or more of a M or Amma. It's the Amma. One of these days I'll get it down just like I get down Gogebic every time now. I just need to keep repeating it. Good news with these storms, if there is any good news to report, is that there doesn't seem to be any sort of tornado possible with these storms, which makes sense. I believe most of this is elevated. I'm going to go ahead and check Mezzo just to be safe. Give it to me here. There we go. Yeah, most of these storms are still partially elevated at this hour, and so a lot of this is just going to be your wind and hail until later, and we do expect some sort of significant atmospheric recovery this afternoon. I'm looking at in the next 6 hours here, Ryan, of instability by 3 p.m. popping right back up to 3,000 in the wake of this first line of storms, so that'll be plenty of fuel for later. Also taking a look at our composite for later, we're looking at supercell composite up into the 8 to 12 range for portions of the western and central upper peninsula prior to convective initiation within the region of the trough. So that'll be an area to watch later, especially as mentioned in our briefing last night, primarily around and after 4 p.m. across portions of the upper peninsula. And that second line later today will be moving southeast across central and eastern upper peninsula, but also into northwest lower Michigan. Overnight, we're talking probably closer to that 9 o'clock time frame later tonight, and moving through between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. across the entire state if it can stay together. And so if you are going to bed later tonight, I will say this right now, you should have a way to receive warning just out of abundance of caution to wake you up from your sleep. I mentioned it last night in the briefing. A weather radio is a good option. Make sure that when you do get a weather radio, it is tuned to the nearest radio tower. It has a good strong signal. Otherwise, it may not pick up on that signal, so make sure it's properly set up. Good news with those weather radios is they are battery backup. So if you do lose power, they will still sound as long as you have batteries in them. So that will be also crucial information for anyone that is in the Upper Peninsula, and anyone that just goes out camping as well. It's always a good idea to bring a weather radio with you. This, no matter what time of the year you're up here in the Upper Peninsula. So good investment going forward if you are especially sleeping. And they do have add-ons as well that you can add that will allow for you to be woken up, especially if you are deaf or hard of hearing. They have those pillow shakers. They also have those strobe lights that flash that you can attach to the weather radios as well. But the current time here at MSC, we'll be covering these storms live from beginning to end. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to wake you up per se, but we do have notifications sent in anytime we are live for severe weather coverage over here on YouTube or Twitch or X. Unfortunately, with Facebook, there are no notifications. But still, we are going to be live anytime these severe warnings are ongoing, which right now there are 4 different warnings ongoing. And Ryan, there's been a spike in power outages in Onondaga County.
Yeah, I was going to check on that here in a second, but I do want to mention as well, until 3 p.m. today, the weather radio around Kalamazoo is off air. So if you have weather radios in the KZoo area, they're going to be off air until planned at 3 p.m. today. And yes, Joel, there is another outage update. We have 141 customers now in Ontonagon County that are without power, 629 in total across the state of Michigan.
Houghton County now also up from 0 to 23. So
Yep.
A little bit of confirmation coming in there. It's a beautiful view in Norway. Deceiving, beautiful view.
Oh yeah, blue sky, a little bit smoky out there, unfortunately, but at least you can see the blue sky today. Also watching our Waters Meet camera here, courtesy of LVD Bar and Grill. Looking off to the right, be where the storms are rolling in from. There's still a blip. We'll call it a blip with a good hail core showing up, moving toward the camera actually on radar here. So we'll see if this actually hails in this spot or if it's just going to be some heavy rain for a brief time.
Also, the strobe lights are an add-on feature, by the way. Quake. They do not come built in with a weather radio. I mean, there's some weather radios that you can get a strobe light. But yeah, they're not necessarily built in. So you can get a weather radio. It's usually just the bare basics where it just alerts you via sound. Got a farmer's market going on there today?
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I got some blankets for sure, but I don't know. What's the gas price? I'm curious.
Check 1, 2. I'm gonna turn on. I turned on my wireless mic, so you should be able to hear me better now. Adjust your volume accordingly.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Saw a comment asking about the weather radio. Yes, Kalamazoo area for right now is off air. It is expected to be back today by 3 p.m. So if there's severe weather tonight or overnight, there's a risk down there in KZoo. If that radio is fixed on time, there'll be no issue for tonight. But for the time being, if you try to turn it on now to test it, you're not going to hear anything. Here comes the precipitation. Starting to rain, looks like. And get windy. Hopefully these don't fly away.
They're going to lose their stuff. Oh, dear.
It's a very small cell, though. If you look on radar, Joel, it's a very small cell, but it does have a hail core on it, according to the radar here. So
that's this lone cell down here in Waters Meet. That is technically inside of the severe thunderstorm warning, so that is warning for Waters Meet. But the main batch that is warned for is still the stuff off to the northwest of Ewin. This is in the Upper Peninsula. Quite the area of damaging winds likely moving in towards the Bruce Crossing area in Ewin. Pretty much traveling straight on down M28 at the current time. Left side of the screen is your general precipitation. So the hotter the colors, the heavier the rain. Sometimes when you get up towards those pinks and darker shades of gray and black, that's where you get into your very large hailstones. But for the most part, right now, this is 60-mile-per-hour winds, perhaps a couple isolated pockets up near 70. The good news is as we're getting closer to the Marquette radar, I've noticed that these blues have started to trend down. Now, at the current time, though, we are still getting confirmation of power outages coming in, so it's likely that we're seeing at least 60 across portions of Ontonagon County at the current time. Rockland, especially down towards Ewan. And also a couple different pockets mixing in here. I imagine the Twin Lakes camp's probably getting hit now with those wind heading up towards the Pelkey and Keweenaw Bay area. But Houghton, you guys are pretty much behind it now. Houghton is actually canceled from the warning, continues over here along the lakeshore area.
Twin Lakes cam was pretty much calm, but the Watersmeet cam is picking up. As that core moves over, just a quick look at the Twin Lakes cam here. I don't know if I want to move it off this camera yet.
Zoom in. Look at those wind. That's quite the downburst for being a lone cell all by itself.
Yep. The Twin Lakes cam, though, is pretty calm. Trees aren't even moving at this point. So it appears those winds are indeed elevated in nature.
Got it. Placed there, yeah.
Yeah, at least at that location. I don't see if there is hail. I can't really make it out or tell.
The drain there. Drain would usually accumulate some, but always important to make sure you have a radar app on you that you're checking on severe weather days like this so you don't get caught out in the elements. Looking back on radar, that storm that's currently heading into Watersmeet was on radar all the way back here south of Ironwood, which would have been 45 minutes ago. At least that, I mean, it was also, if I load in more radar scans, it was on radar way back before then. So again, always a friendly reminder, even on whether or not it's severe or not, it's always a good idea to check your radar on severe weather days or just general thunderstorm days. So again, you don't get caught out in the elements. Again, here at MSC, anytime there is severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, we'll be live tracking them. I keep wanting to do the swipe thing. There's no swipe function on this radar. Yeah, this is still a pretty strong line of storms moving through the west central portion of the Upper Peninsula at the current time. Southern portions of Houghton and southern portions of Ontonagon County being impacted right now, as well as northern Baraga. L'Anse, probably looking off to your north now. You can see the dark skies moving in. This is impacting you guys very, very soon. And also, as you can see on the left side of the screen, I'll solo box it. A lot of pinks mixing in here. Would not be surprised with just decent hail up and down the line. Haven't had any confirmation of hail coming in, but if you guys do have a large hail, especially quarters or higher, quarter-size hail or higher, send that in. Time and location, and if you do have hail, please, I beg you, pretty please, send it with some sort of hail report or some sort of a ruler or measurement next to a coin or a sports ball, something that's like a common object, so that we can send over to the National Weather Service Marquette. Because again, if you just put hail in your hand, again, everyone's hands are different sizes. It's hard to eyeball it truthfully, so make sure you have some sort of common object with you when you are measuring. We also do have a confirmation now of dime-sized hail reported with estimated wind gusts of 50, a couple miles southwest of Ontonagon, closer to the White Pine vicinity.
Yeah, looking at the comment section and messages here, Joel, I still don't see any reports coming in of damage or any hail whatsoever with this, so we should be good on that front. Not gonna say good, but at least we're not getting anything widespread that people are, sending into us. Also, it appears to have a new MD coming out for the UP. A severe watch is unlikely with a probability of 20%.
Feel free to post that.
Yep, I'm on it.
Wait, really? They really have confidence it's going to go that long? That's crazy.
Huh?
I'm just speaking to myself here. Maintaining its strength. I did expect some sort of precipitation to maintain itself with this first wave this morning. I just didn't expect it to be this strong. I think most models yesterday had this line as a decaying line of storms moving into the western UP with a very low chance and a marginal risk up towards the western half of Ontonagon and Gogebic County this morning. But the fact that it has maintained its strength and kind of actually strengthened has come on shore, kind of a little bit of a shock to the models, I guess you could say. And so we are going to be tracking these storms live as long as there's severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We're likely going to see, if you're in Ontonagon, White Pine, Silver City now, you guys are in the clear. These winds are past you, and the power outages continue to be racked up here across Ontonagon County. We're up to now 292, which is now more than doubled. That is now about 3.7% of the county. 49 outages now in Houghton County, and a solid 8 up from 0 in Gogebic County. So it appears that those winds are indeed mixing down. And as we saw on the WatersMeet cam there, courtesy of LVD Plaza, those winds were pretty gusty. And you don't even need 60 mile per hour winds, honestly, to get power outages. You can get those at 40 mile per hour winds. So whether it's 60, 50, 40, it's wind is wind, and you should be taking shelter no matter what if you are inside of these orange polygons this morning. Again, lots of heads up out there. These orange boxes are out well in advance. So if you're down here along the US 41 corridor over towards Covington, Astoria, Herman, all the way down here towards even close to the Iron River area, these warnings are out well in advance of the storms that are heading your way. So you can see what's coming. It's a good idea to pack up shop now. If there's any sort of festivals or fairs or anything of the sorts going on out there, it's a good idea to do so now so that you're not packing up the last second and you lose a bunch in your merchandise.
Next in that discussion says isolated damaging winds and marginally severe hail are possible this morning. A gradual weakening trend is anticipated. A watch is not expected. So they're basically saying it'll weaken with time, or at least they expect it to. But I don't know, Joel. It looks pretty healthy right now.
Yep. They may not issue a watch, but the only thing that matters right now is the fact that there are warnings in effect. And for those who need a reminder, warnings are higher than a watch. So,
and that discussion is only for these storms currently. It ends basically at Escanaba. It's basically just out ahead. I'll be seeing that page. I don't know if you see it or not, but that box is very small, and it's just for these storms.
I feel like they could have done a mesoscale discussion a little bit earlier, but again, we didn't really have much ground truth until these storms really came out on shore. So it's kind of a take it or leave it sort of situation here. These winds are still pretty gusty. Still very interested in the southern half of this severe thunderstorm warning. Now, granted, of course, there are a bunch of different blue pockets up here in the Winona area. I need to fast forward this. I just realized that was old radar imagery. There we go. Definitely still a couple blue pockets from Pelkey up to Keweenaw Bay. A lot of blue in the Bruce Crossing, Trout Creek, and Kenton area. This is now heading towards Sidnaw, Covington, and Herman. Sidnaw, Covington, Herman, and Astoria. You guys still have probably about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe closer to 15 for Astoria. But again, this is your heads up now. Also, plenty of lightning ongoing with these storms. If you're not seeing the wind or hail per se, again, lightning is a very likely hazard out there this morning. Also, Ryan, we do have a public report of 1-inch hail now reported in Ewin. Report via social media.
I was actually looking at that storm about 10 minutes ago. or so. It did have a nice core on that as it moved into you and back at around the 927 scan. Not surprised. There's a direct hit into doing a Bruce Crossing there, so definitely no surprise with that.
That little core that popped up right prior to the main line.
Yep.
1331. That'd have been 12 minutes ago. Correlation coefficient still denotes that there's quite the hail core or some sort of pocket of hail ongoing in or north of Bruce Crossing right now. Again, anytime you see these purples change over to your cooler or mid-range warm colors, so these yellows and oranges and even down into the greens and perhaps blues, that's some very large hail tumbling around up there in this storm. Cross-referencing it with, of course, your general reflectivity radar, which is the intensity of the rain that's falling. The hotter the colors, the bigger the raindrops. And so, you know, every time we see these purples and pinks and sometimes even shades of gray and black, that is where you see often your largest hailstones.
Yeah, Detroit's radar is still down. Expected to be up today at some point, but we'll see.
Yeesh. It's been down for a week now. Well, almost a week, 6 days. So no radar data. Well, technically there is radar data in the Detroit radar. It's just from nearby radars. Current time right now, 9:45 a.m. We just hit the 9:45 mark. Storm is rolling in through Trout Creek and Lance at the current time in the western Upper Peninsula. You're looking at radar data fresh off of a GR2 Analyst, which is some really good PC software. If you're looking for PC software, highly recommend it. And again, it's better than anytime you see smothered radar data. So we talk about smothered radar data. What's happening is, obviously, here's all of your raw pixels you're seeing on screen. When they smother it, it looks like this. It's still pretty looking, but it's not the most accurate representation of what's falling at your location. You can kind of see the difference between them as I flash between them here. So, I mean, looking at it from a zoomed out view, there's not a whole lot of difference between the two. However, again, the raw data is always what you want to go with. So finding a radar with raw data is a huge win, especially when it's sometimes, Ryan, with these smothered radar data, it does often get rid of, especially if you're looking on days with like light rain showers, it does get rid of a lot of the lower DBZ values, the lighter rain. So having it in raw mode is better than smothered mode. That's a good bit of information there from Aubrey, saying pea-sized hail went through in the Chaslet area, powers out. Winds were buried within the middle of the storm, not right out in the front. It hailed before the wind came. That does make sense, considering what we're seeing here on velocity radar. In fact, there's just a bunch of blue pockets that are just mixed in all within this line of storms. In fact, it's actually, some of this wind, Ryan, is actually behind the main heaviest precipitation. So be advised, even as these heaviest of rain does pass over, again, ground truth is very important. So I appreciate that, Aubrey. That's what we're seeing here on velocity radar. These blues just buried all within the line. Now, obviously, there's some blues out in front, but there is still a lot of pockets back here that are likely gusting out of the surface. All these tiny little microbursts that are ongoing. So no matter what, wait until these orange boxes are done for your area. These severe thunderstorm warnings do still read 1-inch hail and 60 mile per hour winds. But if you're back in the Rockland, Ontonagon, Winona, Twin Lakes, up towards Houghton and South Range, you guys are in the clear now. Could also include Frida with that from that severe thunderstorm warning. We also have additional cells popping up behind this main line. Again, that is something to be monitoring for later today. But at the current time, that mesoscale discussion that came out, less than a 20% chance for a watch. I do expect these storms to kind of maintain their strength as they make it over towards the Escanaba area. $292 out. 292 customers out in Ontonagon County, up to 48 in Houghton. Still none in Baraga or Iron at the current time.
Our next weather camera in line for this is going to be either Norway or Negaunee. There's a pretty big gap we have between Watersmeet, Krups Resort, and then the Negaunee cam and Norway cams.
I would say Negaunee.
Yeah, I can get that pulled up. It's actually on my screen already. I had the 9-panel pulled up, so
Yeah.
got Norway cam in the center right and Negaunee center screen.
Wildfire smoke's kind of hiding it a little bit out there.
Yep. That camera there, courtesy of Norway Mountain Ski Resort.
Also, I want to take your attention to a pocket of wind on the northern half of this severe thunderstorm warning. This is in rural portions of eastern Baraga County. It's actually already passing into portions of unwarned Marquette County towards County Road IAA. Yeah? Is that what it is? Is that how you pronounce it? IAA?
Where are you at here? Hold on.
It's on the northern edge of... They also call it AAA Road. So it's IA and...
IAA.
Yeah. And Ford Road.
Yeah, it turns into Ford Road.
Yeah, I'm looking at some pockets here. 1,800 feet off the ground. Now, this is a lot closer to the ground, actually, Ryan. 1,800 feet off the ground, 77 miles per hour.
Yep.
And that would be heading, that just popped up, so that would be heading right in towards the Big Bay area. There's winds already occurring in Big Bay. But it looks like we have a line of downburst winds ongoing right now across the area, and I would imagine we're going to probably see a new warning coming in soon. They might also upgrade it just because my mind is correct. If my data is correct here, this should be decent decape, but I'm going to check. Yes, that is a lot of decape. That is 1,300 joules out there already.
That'll do it. Outage map, we increased 26 more customers since the last update. So it's not going up too fast, but still adding slowly. Ontonagon County at 292, Houghton at 48, Gogebic at 8, Iron and Baraga still at 0, as well as Marquette and Dickinson County all at 0 so far.
All right, are you able to take over for like 3 minutes?
No. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Yep.
It should be good to go. Alrighty. So look at my radar now. Looking zoomed out look here. We have our main complex of storms from about Big Bay to Skeeny, all the way down toward Lance, Covington, Sidnaw, all the way down close to Bruce Crossing and Ewan areas. Further south, the Watersmeet cell did peter out into just showers, it appears, as that moves toward Iron River and Crystal Falls areas. But behind this line here, we do have more individual cells that are popping up over Lake Superior here. We'll have to kind of see how those play out. I wouldn't expect them to become severe, but hey, This morning's already surprised us in terms of that first big line coming through here. So who knows what's going to happen with these cells behind it. But our main concern today has always been and still is what comes later on tonight, or should I say this evening, as a more significant round of severe weather is expected. We have a level 3 out of 5 risk in place for the SPC, level 4 out of 6 via MSC risks there for portions of the UP. This is not the main concern that we have today. Our main concern comes much later on, late afternoon into the evening hours. That would present an all hazards risk as well. So this is just the appetizer so far. But if you're out in front of this complex, Sidnaw, Covington, Michigami, Republic, what was Amasa, there it is. Also Marquette, Ishpeming area, Negaunee area. This line is moving to the east-southeast at about 40 to 50 or so miles per hour. This is going to be moving close to the US 41 interchange here at 141 near Covington. As you can see here, a very nice large pink core, which could be indicating some hail falling within the worst of this, but also the risk with this is going to be for damaging wind via downburst. If I switch you guys over here to velocity, if I can get my pen to come off the screen, there we go. Our velocity on this storm, especially up here in the Big Bay, west of Big Bay area, I don't see any towns, but as Joel's calling out the AAA road in that area, that is where the gustiest winds are. But all throughout this, you can kind of see some clashing going on of colors, indicating we could see some downburst winds occurring all throughout this big complex. So expect it to be pretty gusty in nature. There are people out of power from this storm up in Ontonagon and Houghton counties, as well as Gogebic, but nothing too widespread that I'm seeing on the outage map right now. Ontonagon County has the most out, 3% of the counties out of power with 292 customers out. They track about 8,000 customers in total. So aside from that, the warning continues for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail for the yellow boxes here. If you're behind this line, you're still getting some rain, some lightning and thunder here, but the worst of it should be tucked in within or just behind this pink core here. So Lance getting the worst of it right now. Pelkey probably clearing out just a bit. Now the worst new scan coming in there. Worst is over Sidnaw, about to enter Covington here. It's basically over the 41 and 141 interchanges. On deck here is going to follow very closely between 141 and 41 here toward Michigami, Humboldt, Republic. And as Joel mentioned a few minutes ago, probably a downstream warning coming here. Maybe not immediately here, but Marquette County as well as Dickinson County will need a new downstream warning if this storm continues to hold together, which right now we're expecting it to hold together. It looks pretty strong still as it progresses toward the end of that polygon. Those winds that did increase up here are right around 60 miles per hour. The brighter greens turning to blues is going to be close to 60 mile per hour winds here. There's 54, 56, 53, 57. So we're getting some pretty gusty winds here as it gets close to the radar. The closer you get to the radar, the better your data becomes because the radar beam shoots up in the atmosphere the further away you go. The closer you get to the radar site, the lower that beam is to the ground. So the closer the storm gets, the more accurate data becomes. So we'll keep an eye on that as it gets closer here to the Marquette radar, which is located right here. As you can see, this circle with the KMQT badge on it. Your hail tracker on this is a big wide area here. A few pockets of some bigger cores over here heading to Covington and Sidnaw areas. Also over here along that AAA road just south and west of that area. That's heading up toward the eventually toward Ishpeming areas. For the time being, though, this is moving to the east-southeast about 40 to 50 miles per hour. If I put a storm track on this, see if we can get this to work today. There we go. I don't like that. Let's try that again. I see Joel's back with me. If you want to talk while I try to figure this out, you're welcome to.
You're good.
There we go. This is what I wanted to do. We're going to move speed about, we're going to go 40 or 40. Let's do 43 just to call it good here. So some areas out ahead of this, 3 Lakes in 4 minutes, Michigami in 10 minutes. Champion in 20 minutes, Humboldt in 24 minutes, Republic in 26 minutes, Ishpeming in 36 minutes, Negaunee 38 minutes, Marquette 48, Gwin at an hour or so. Also at an hour about Scandia, Rock River hour 20 minutes, downstream toward Munising and Christmas about an hour and a half for you guys. And that continues on its east-southeast track.
It's hilarious looking at Mezzo, Ryan, and it still does not have that line of showers like anywhere at all in the Upper Peninsula, like existing.
Right. We also got some pop-ups behind it that are trying to get going over Lake Superior. I doubt they'll do anything just because this is taking a lot of the juice out right now out of the atmosphere. So we'll see what happens. But it also seems to be converging on itself a little bit, kind of combining as it moves to the southeast. Marquette might get lucky with this if that continues. Outage update, we're over 1,000 customers now without power. Although I see 2 in Marquette County now coming in. That's a new one. Baraga still at 0, Iron and Dickinson County all at 0. Houghton still at 48, Ontonaga at 292, Gogebic at 33. So those outages look like they're coming in from actually new outage in Lenawee and Kent counties popping in. So not storm related. Those are coming all the way further south. But we did add 2, at very least 2 customers in Marquette County that did lose power.
Oh, that might be that surge near the Covington area right now, Ryan. Sitting out of Covington cell.
Yeah, probably is. That or what happened earlier with that downburst up in the Skaney area. But I think that happened more in Baraga County than Marquette County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, National Weather Service Marquette is requesting any sort of reports that you guys have this morning. So if you're watching the Upper Peninsula and have damage to send in, please do so with time and location as specific as possible. Again, if you have hail, measure it next to a coin or a ruler or some sort of common object that we can use to denote for diameter when we send it over to the National Weather Service Marquette. It is appreciated. You can send in any of your reports to us at our messenger is open. Please only use the messenger for damage reports. Otherwise, we do have our Discord server, discord.gg/Michigan Storm Chasers. You can send it into. Also, if you're on Facebook, we do have our Michigan Weather Reports community Facebook group that you can join as well, on top of just putting it in a comment section on one of our posts. So as a reminder, if you put it in the comment section here on our stream, we won't be able to see it. So make sure if you are going to send it in our comment section on Facebook, make sure it is on one of our other posts.
Our Facebook page is pretty much dead with comments and reports with these warnings coming in here. So I'm going to say it's probably an overall good sign. We're not getting overwhelming reports of anything happening, but it's a work day. It's also morning. And the population up there is pretty scattered to rural in nature. So we may not get many reports to begin with. I think Joel and I can both agree on this. A lot of the reports out of the UP tend to come after the event's over. We don't really hear about many big happenings until after the storms are past. We start getting these pictures of damage coming in. And that's also to be expected just because, again, population-wise, we're not, populated like Grand Rapids or Detroit is. It's pretty sparse out there. So we're not going to get much information from a lot of people until after the fact. I've seen, I think, equal amount of questions about our app coming out, Joel, than I have about severe weather today.
Yeah, I know.
Again, for those watching and who are wondering about the app, it is done. Beta testing is complete. There's still a few things we're still working out there, but nothing major here that's going to, significantly delay or prevent you guys from using the app. But it's done. Right now, we are basically playing ping pong with the app stores. We submit it, they kick it back to us and say, "Hey, change this." So we change it, kick it back to them, and they kick it back to us. So we're basically playing ping pong back and forth, trying to revise it to make sure the app stores are content with it. So once that process is done, it will be coming out. But for right now, we are just kind of going back and forth, getting everything last minute changes that the app stores are requiring us to do to kind of fit it in line with their policies. So that's where we're at things. So it's not on us, not on the developers. It's done. It's just right now waiting on things out of our control. Jamie says, watching in West Ishpeming, sky's getting dark to the west. Yep. Makes sense.
Nagani cam?
I'm going to pull up the Nagani cam. Yeah, I'm pulling that up right now. I'm sharing my radar though. Give me a second to change that.
No warnings yet, by the way, for Ishpeming, Marquette, Nagani, but that might change really soon. We still have those pockets of wind up here, as you can see on velocity data. Stop. Please stop. I hit the pause button and it just kept going. There we go. There's a lot of unnamed roads out here. There's a lot of roads that don't even connect to each other. That's how bad this GIS data is. But yeah, a lot of unnamed roads out here. County Road 510 is one of them. Anytime you see these greens changing over to the lighter blues, those are going to be your 60-mile-per-hour winds. And quite a couple pockets of these lighter blues here. These are a little bit closer to the green than they are blue, and so these ones are more around 50 to 55 over here along Wilson Creek Truck Trail, traveling down Big Bay Road. To the west of that, we have Unnamed Road, Unnamed Road, and Unnamed Road. So that is all just rural portions of northwestern Marquette County, all of these little splotches of greens mixing in with the light blues. Those are going to be gustiest to the winds. We also have this huge pocket of rain, wind, and perhaps even some hail right now on US 141 south of Covington and in the Nestoria area, so continuing towards Michigami and Champion with still a wind risk and hail risk at the current time. These severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect for another 9 minutes for this corridor here of 5 different counties and 24 minutes on the southern severe thunderstorm warning. So that one has a little bit longer of a time frame. And I would imagine we're going to see a new warning here within the next 3 or so minutes. So stay tuned for that if you're in portions of Marquette, perhaps even northern Dickinson County, as this line continues to move down to the southeast at speeds around 50 miles per hour. Yeah, these storms are in a pocket right now of what we call D Cape, so downdraft Cape, which is the potential for these storms to just continue to produce downbursts as this line continues off to the southeast. And I literally just said it within the next 3 minutes. There's our new warning coming in at the current time, as it's about to leave our main boxes here. But yeah, all that D Cape out there this morning, these values of 12 to 1300, that is above the threshold of usually 900 to 1000 that we use for decent downburst signatures. And so this will continue. This atmosphere is kind of riding along this complex of storms too. So as these storms move east, so does that pocket of D Cape with it. And so we will likely see continued fuel until these storms make it over towards perhaps the Escanaba, Gladstone, and the M35 corridor from Princeton to Perkins and up towards Marquette. But here's your new warning coming in. The orange box on your screen that is flashing, that is your new severe thunderstorm warning. National Water Service Marquette has issued this severe thunderstorm warning. It's also for 5 more counties. We got northeastern Iron, northern Dickinson, Marquette County, southern Baraga, and west central Elger County until 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. At 10:05 a.m. Eastern, 9:05 a.m. Central, severe thunderstorms are located along a line extending from 7 miles south of Big Bay to near US 141 between Covington and Amasa, moving southeast at 55 miles per hour. So moving a little bit quicker now. Hazards remain quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Radar indicated, of course, is the source. Although we did have a confirmation, of course, of 1-inch hail way back in the Ewing area. Hail damage to vehicles is expected. Wind damage to roof-siding trees also a possibility. We got Marquette, Ishpeming, Presque Isle, Nagani, Felch, Michigami, Champion, Chatham, Little Presque Isle, K.I. Sawyer International Airport, or just K.I. Sawyer Airport, I should say, Shot Point and Trowbridge Park. For your protection, move to the lowest floor in an interior room in your building. As a reminder, it's 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail. You can see some wind drip and hail coming in, especially going right down the US 41 M28 corridor right now, just to the west of Champion. Michigami, you've got about maybe 4 minutes at the most.
Yo, I'm going to pop out if you're good to go for 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay.
I have the Nagani cam pulled up if you want to take it. That's what I'm going to have on my screen.
Sounds good. The Nagani cam is courtesy of Black Diamond Car Wash, right there on US 41 in Nagani. It's over there on the center. That's actually right center in town. Nagani, going back to the radar, is still not yet being impacted, but you do have your new severe thunderstorm warning now. So if you are now in this new severe thunderstorm warning, you should be packing up shop, taking shelter, or getting ready to take shelter. That is your warning. Warning means everything. It means conditions have come together for the development of severe thunderstorms. They're currently being observed right now via radar data or in person. Right now it is radar indicated. Winds of perhaps 60 miles per hour within this line. And again, base velocity kind of shows those blues mixing in with the greens at the current time all up and down this line. Power outage wise, still have not seen, they've been coming in pretty slowly, I would say. But no additional outages besides the one that came in from Marquette County. There's none in Baraga, none in Iron. I think they have tapered off. Yeah, Houghton's still at 48. Gogebic jumped to 44. Ontonagon has topped out at around 300, at 292 right now. These storms are primarily in far southern Baraga, and the fact we have no power outages in Baraga County so far is a good sign. These storms are about to leave Baraga. They're entering northern Iron and western Marquette as we speak. They're already in northern Marquette, but western Marquette also being impacted, and those are the counties up first. Eventually heading off towards northern Dickinson and western Alger County within the next half hour to 45 minutes. We appreciate all the love we're getting up here from the Upper Peninsula. For those who are watching up there, thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to, like and share, show you care. We don't have too much of a Upper Peninsula audience, but it is important that we do cover everyone in the state of Michigan. It's our job to do so. So again, feel free to spread our doing via word of mouth. Appreciate it very much. Current time right now on the bottom of the screen is 10:11. See down there at the bottom of the screen. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma, live with you guys. I've been live now for an hour and a half as severe thunderstorms have rolled in from Lake Superior. Now moving in all the way across the west central portions of the Upper Peninsula, heading towards downtown Marquette, Champion, Republic, and places south like Amasa and Crystal Falls. Although, again, no warning for Amasa or Crystal Falls yet. We'll just see if these storms do exhibit severe potential, but I think at the current time it's mainly just rain and light thunderstorm action ongoing down here. So we'll hopefully keep it that way. But for now, though, the main concern is the Michigami area, where there does appear to be a little bit of bowing ongoing. And again, we see these little notches kind of bow out like that is usually where we have these isolated pockets of downburst winds of 60 or plus. Also a little bit further south down here into the far northern Iron County, we have the grade. That's all it says is the grade as the name of the road. And also Shank Lake Road and Bone Lake Road and Wilson Creek Road and Cut Across Road and Fence Line River Road. So there's a couple roads out here that are named. Also Imperial Heights Road, that is in the Michigami area at the current time. We hope everyone in Michigami, both the moose and the people, are taking shelter. For those who are curious, a lot of the moose like to hang out in this area of US 41 between Champion and Covington. So Michigami, Nestoria, Herman. There's always a lot of moose sightings up this way. It is, if you're in Michigami right now, Lake Michigami, this is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I see a couple of you guys tuning in right now from the US 41 corridor right now. The orange box you see on your screen is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds and or 1-inch hail. That is the baseline they're going with here. Not everyone, of course, in this line of storms is getting those hazards. But there's enough confidence to issue that severe thunderstorm warning with baseline 60 and 1-inch hail. So do be taking shelter. You want to be in a sturdy structure, and these 60-mile-per-hour winds can bring down widespread trees. So you do want to be taking it somewhat seriously at the current time. Anywhere where you see an orange box in effect, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. So this extends all the way out down towards the Foster City and Northland area, which is still probably about a half hour away or so. Depending on whether or not these line of storms can speed up, which they have consistently been speeding up this morning. The speeds now are off to the southeast at 55. But again, still got some time there in Northland and Foster City. You still want to be taking shelter soon. And if you have stuff outside that needs to be put away, you need to be doing that now, especially if you're up here closer to this line of storms, which is approaching Marquette, Ishpeming, Negaunee very, very soon. We have our Negaunee cam, and you can actually start to see over there on the right side of the screen a little bit of a shelf feature behind the haze as it's rolling in. Once again, this is looking west from Negaunee along the lake there, courtesy of Black Diamond Car Wash. It's a great view of the incoming line of storms, a little bit of a Boeing segment moving in on radar. So again, if you are traveling west out of Marquette and Negaunee, I would say maybe wait for this line to come through. You don't want to be out there traveling and trees falling around you. Something you don't want to be in the midst of happening. So also looks like there's a downburst ongoing in Michigami right now, directly over Red Road. And what's another road name here? It's just all Red Road. So we got Cardinal Point Road. I believe that's along the lake. There's a little bit of a downburst. I would say yes to downburst. You can see reds and greens close together like that. Usually that would be a sign of rotation. However, the greens and reds are kind of in the opposite location of what it would be rotation. So likely a downburst signature ongoing right now in Michigami and Lake Michigami. Heading into Champion right now, you guys should be taking shelter if you're watching this out of an abundance of caution. You don't want those trees to come crashing down around you. Again, this is in the Upper Peninsula only. This morning, our main threat for the Lower Peninsula will be later today. Likely, might not even be later today, it might be later tonight, especially after 9 p.m. Of course, it depends on whether or not, this first line of storms maintains itself through the morning hours here into the afternoon hours. They can stay together and cross into northwest lower. That would be obviously a concern for later. But our main concern is going to be later tonight. We do have redevelopment expected across the area. Now, this is a little unprecedented. We do not expect precipitation to be really maintaining itself. So the models last night, if you guys watched our briefing last night around 8 o'clock, we did expect some sort of morning convection to move through. However, we expected this to gradually weaken with time. It is finally starting to weaken just a tad. However, it has maintained itself all the way now into the Marquette area. It's a little bit further than expected. And on top of that, check out all that redevelopment that's occurring right behind this line now. We do have a chance at perhaps a little bit of minor flooding if these showers continue to train over the same area. There's also some pink pockets popping in there where some minor hail could be falling. And again, if these showers continue to train over the same area, not only do we have a flooding risk, but we also have the nullification of the storm fuel that's available for storms later this afternoon. I should actually change my radar back there to show you guys what's happening. These showers are the ones I'm talking about here that are redeveloping across Lake Superior. But going back to our Negaunee cam, that is very dark moving into the Negaunee cam very soon. So if you're in Negaunee, Ishpeming, again, dark skies, common sense says, it's a big storm coming in. So use your common sense, take shelter now. If you are in Ishpeming, Marquette, Negaunee, down towards Palmer, in the National Mine area, and it's setting for the radar site as well at National Weather Service Marquette. If you are in L'Anse, the warning has expired for you guys, as well as Herman, Pelkey, Keweenaw Bay, and Aura. That warning has expired. Once again, also down towards Covington. If you're to the east of those points, so Nestoria, Michigami, Champion, you are in this warning, as well as points off to the south and east, anywhere in this orange box that you see on the screen. Michigan is also responsible for the only 2 severe thunderstorm warnings anywhere in the United States right now, and also 2 of 3 special marine warnings shown here in the blue boxes in the United States. So all the severe weather so far right now, as of 10:18 this morning, anywhere in the United States, it's located right here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So not congratulations, unfortunately, for those who are in the Upper Peninsula, but this is your live radar update. It is barreling into Ishpeming here very, very shortly. The wind right now, you can see a couple pockets of brighter greens mixing in with the blues. We need a new radar scan here very shortly. Hoping we get one. Rapid scan would be awesome, but yeah, check out that dark mass of clouds moving in at the current time here. Again, this is courtesy of Black Diamond Car Wash in Negaunee. If you're in the Upper Peninsula and you have a business that would love to sponsor a weather camera, again, we'll take any locations that you guys have, even in locations that may already have a weather camera in the Upper Peninsula. Again, there's always a new view, no matter where you are looking around. So, again, we do have maybe a dozen or half cameras located here and there across the peninsula. Most of them are doubled up at the same location. So, for example, we have Cedarville and Nobbin Way. They both have 2 cameras, but they're both at the same location. Watersmeet has 2 cameras as well, but they're like a mile apart from each other. And so we also have up here towards Central Michigan, which is a town, not the central portion of the state, but actually Central Michigan at the Air Force Base. We have 2 cameras up there as well. So again, we have a decent amount of cameras in the Upper Peninsula for weather monitoring. However, again, they are all kind of in the same spot. And so if you guys have businesses that would love to sponsor a weather camera, please reach out to us. Ryan, who was in here in stream a couple minutes ago, his contact email is ryan@michiganstormchasers.com. Highly recommend to get in on the action. And also, especially up here in the Upper Peninsula, you guys see the northern lights all the time. Your cameras are used quite frequently when it comes to aurora spotting, so we do appreciate it. To all of our sponsors that also do sponsors. I should also, can't forget Norway down here. Norway Mountain Ski Resort. They were the first 2 cameras to be installed in the Upper Peninsula. So they have 2 cameras at the top of their mountain. They looked off to the north towards this line of storms. So all in all, about a dozen to a dozen and a half cameras in the Upper Peninsula. Tornadic weather possible later today. Again, if you missed our briefing last night, feel free to watch it back. It's available on our YouTube channel. If you guys are watching on YouTube, feel free to click on our channel name. Again, highly recommend. There's a lot of good information in that briefing. Also, I believe Ryan put out a daily video this morning as well that has a bunch of information that you guys need to know. Again, all hazards on the table across the Upper Peninsula later this afternoon, primarily after that 4 p.m. time frame. You need to be ready for any sort of hazard later today if you're in the Upper Peninsula, whether you're vacationing, whether you're a resident or you're a tourist here for the first time. Again, we do see a couple days per year where all hazards are on the table in the Upper Peninsula. It's not uncommon. So you may come to the Upper Peninsula saying, oh, it's the Upper Peninsula, it's so far north, you know, and storms don't get severe this far north. And I can tell you for certain, I mean, we're seeing it right now. Severe weather happens all the time in the Upper Peninsula. Tornadoes can happen, and we've already seen one this year in the Upper Peninsula. So you do want to keep your guard on today as these storms roll in to your vicinity. And again, these storms are moving across the Upper Peninsula, eventually into northern lower and western lower later tonight. And if it can stay together, if there's any sort of instability later tonight in the overnight hours, this line of storms could make it all the way over into the Detroit area and the Thumb. This depends on how much severe weather will still be available or instability available for severe weather at that point. So while the odds are lower for severe weather today in southeast Michigan, the odds are still there. And so again, highly encourage you to check out either our briefing from last night, our daily video for today that was released today, or our severe weather outlook that was actually released, at 8 a.m. this morning. That also has your probabilities of each hazard happening throughout the day along with timing. So feel free to check that out. Right now, we are talking about severe weather that is ongoing. And so right now, that severe wind is moving in very closely to the radar site here in Marquette, Negaunee, over to Marquette, and perhaps a little bit into the Negaunee area. Again, looking at radar here, a lot of our brighter greens and blues are to the north of the radar site, heading more towards downtown Marquette at the current time. A lot of blues over here in the Amasa area towards Crystal Falls. That's outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. And generally speaking, besides the fact that there's still a lot of rain moving in, this is looking to turn into more of a minor flooding and lightning threat. Now, again, they still don't want to let your guard down yet, but we are starting to see signs of clear weakening out here across the Marquette County area. Yeah, check out how dark it's gotten. The streetlights have come on now here at our Negaunee cam. It's so dark. I see Ryan's in the background.
Oh, I'm here.
Yeah, you guys can see. I mean, that's literally confirming it's dark as night now in Ishpeming and Marquette. We're looking at our Negaunee cam, which is in between Ishpeming and Marquette, and yeah, that first push of clouds came over and it turned on those streetlights. It's so dark out there. And then here comes your rain right behind it in that lighter area. So, yep, there it is now. You can see some of the first rain droplets coming down. So, courtesy of Black Diamond Car Wash, appreciate them for this camera in the Negaunee area. We are live currently on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch TV, and X this morning at the account name MI Storm Chasers. Feel free to tune in wherever applicable. It's also a good reminder that if you know somebody that needs severe weather coverage, but they don't have like a Facebook account, for example, you can watch for free without an account over on YouTube. Again, our username, MI Storm Chasers. Feel free to find the link, send it over to your friends and family. Highly recommend. It's the best way to watch our streams here at MSC. Have some wind coming out the backside of the radar site. Not sure if that's confirmed at the ground, but there's a couple pixels here around of 70, mixing it with some of the ground clutter here. And that is, I believe, heading towards, yeah, it's heading towards the airport, south of Marquette. But I did not see, I mean, it's really tough to tell, because we're so far zoomed out, what the winds are doing there in Negaunee.
They don't look too bad.
They're moving, but they're not 45 to 90 degree angle moving, so that's good. But I mean, we've seen it multiple times so far this morning, according to Ground Truth, that these winds are buried within the line. So it might rain to begin, and all of a sudden here comes your wind after that. Actually, you can kind of make out a little bit of a base feature moving into cam now. Top of the screen, center screen. Can see it up there moving in. Yeah, I think we're downtrending very quickly here, but that's quite the base on the center of the screen there for sure. That is embedded within this line. And we're not going to get another radar scan for another 2 to 3 minutes here. Go back to radar real quick. Ryan, keep an eye on that, of course.
Yep.
Curious if this is bolts from the blue or not, but I have lightning data that is out 5 to 10 miles ahead of this line of storms just outside of Princeton out on South Shore Road. So again, if you are in the severe thunderstorm warning, you have been warned. I will say this now. this lightning, if this is striking out in front of this line of storms, it can prove deadly. And again, you do not want to become a statistic. So even if you don't get the wind or the hail, it's a good idea to be inside no matter what. Sturdy structure. If you're out camping in a tent, it's better to be surrounded by, I kid you not, a metal object being inside your car, because it actually is, if your car gets struck by lightning, it goes around and through and into the ground. Where if you're in a tent, I mean, there's no grounding in a tent. It's going to come straight through. So lightning is definitely a hazard, on top of course, the wind and perhaps a little bit of hail. But the wind and hail threats are starting to decrease significantly out here that we're seeing at the current time. Again, this line is moving over the National Weather Service Marquette right now. And so they'll probably have some sort of report coming in, I would imagine, on their back end of things. But we'll see. There's the cloud again.
Yeah, still not seeing much in the way of any gusty winds.
A little base there. Again, that's courtesy of Black Diamond Car Wash. A little bit of minor road flooding also ongoing down there in US 41 in front of the camera. The heavy rain just came through. Kind of where that lowering is at, there's a distinct little feature I'm looking at on our velocity radar near National Mine. It appears to be a new downburst popping up. Again, that's going to be directly on County Road PB, at County Road PBH, County Road 476, heading towards County Road PE, and Cliffs Drive. So it's heading towards Palmer. Palmer, watch out for a microburst potential there as this line of storms heads your way. It's primarily with this distinct cell I'm circling on radar in the pink just south of Ishpeming at the current time. That is primarily the only pocket I'm seeing. There's also an increased line of velocities here from Marquette down to Harvey and heading towards the airport, K.I. Sawyer. So we'll see. Again, ground truth means everything. If you guys have damage reports to send in, please do so. We're available. Severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern Iron County has been officially dropped. 10:30, so we are out of time on that. So we're playing the waiting game right now. We're seeing if any reports come in. Rain still continues up there in Negaunee. Landon is curious about driving from Wausau, Wisconsin to Marquette at some point today. I would say you should, I mean, no matter what time you leave, you should be on alert today. Obviously, with this first line coming through, that's going to be a nice little break. But again, whether or not you're in Wausau or Marquette or anywhere in between today, you need to have ways of receiving warning on you, because again, the atmosphere is primed for severe weather primarily after 4 o'clock this afternoon, after this first line is done. So again, we're not responsible for telling you when to leave, but again, we do have this first line that is moving through right now in the atmosphere is going to have to recover in some capacity after this first line moves through. So do use that information to your advantage when making your decisions. But again, we're primarily expecting strong to severe weather across the Upper Peninsula, primarily after 4 p.m. this afternoon, moving in through central UP over into northwest lower, close to the 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and eventually after 9 o'clock for portions of the Lower Peninsula. We're working with 5-minute radar scans here, so it's just talk about the latest information and then wait another 4 minutes and talk about it again and wait another 4 minutes. So doing our best with the information we got. Unfortunately, they do not have it in rapid scan right now, so we can't do these the distinct play-by-play that we want to do for these downbursts. But you can see on our latest velocity scan, there is a downburst in the National Mine area. Again, 5 minutes, timing that out, it would put it in the Palmer area south here on M35. So we'll see though. A little bit further south than east, but yeah, there's your downburst continuing on CCI Mine Road and County Road 476. That's about 2 miles south and west of Palmer. Warning has been trimmed. Remains in effect till 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central for northeastern Iron, northern Dickinson, Marquette County, southeastern Baraga, and west central Alger. At 10:32 Eastern, severe thunderstorms located from Harvey to Squaw Lake, moving southeast at 55. 60 mile per hour wind gusts, quarter size hail are possible. Again, Marquette, Ishpeming, Presque Isle, Negaunee, Felch, Michigami, Champion, Chatham, Dearton, West Ishpeming, Squaw Lake, and KI Sawyer Airport all remain in this severe thunderstorm warning, once again in effect till 11 a.m. here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Again, this is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the state. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning in the nation. And again, it's Marquette. Congratulations, you guys have the only warning in the state right now. Yeah, Landon, I would say, again, the information here is this atmosphere does need to recover some this morning. So I would say as soon as possible, if possible. But again, it's... we also have storms, Ryan, redeveloping behind this line, which they're not impressive, but there's still like pockets of velocity in here that, you know, it's not worth completely ignoring over, because there's some blues mixing in here. And we saw similar, if not, you know, worse earlier this morning. But again, we're seeing elevated wind pockets here of 60 to 70 miles per hour in these cells in an atmosphere that is still trying to recover across the Houghton County area. So we'll have to keep an eye on those cells too. But yeah, main concern is going to be after 4 o'clock this afternoon, western, central, upper peninsula. Time frame after that, overnight through 4 a.m. Delta County, you guys are not in any sort of severe alert yet, but this line is heading your way. It's decaying. There's still isolated pockets of downbursts ongoing within this line. Strongest downburst right now in the Palmer vicinity. A lot of bright reds traveling down Station Road and M553 towards the airport. While I wait for a new scan, I'm going to go ahead and shout out a couple of our super chats and members here on YouTube. We got Ann R, back from month number 14, is a bronze member, saying, "So glad we have MSC." Thank you very much, Ann, for that nice compliment. We're glad we're here for you guys as well. We also have one of our moderators, Hannah W, back from month number 6, saying happy to be here. We're happy you're here as well as Hannah. Thank you for always supporting us and being one of our moderators. We got Isabie, Wrangling Dragon, and Gracie Star sending an assortment of jewels. We got Topinaby sending a $4.99 super chat saying, "Say my name." There you go. I have said it. And yeah, that's the end of them so far. So this is primarily a lightning threat at the current time, along with small hail, but there are still pockets. You can see these bright reds and bright greens that kind of just pulse down in random spots inside of the line of storms. Those are going to be your 60 mile per hour winds that are happening on occasion. And with these downburst winds, they can spread out in any direction. So if you're directly underneath a downburst, it's going to be landing straight on your head. But if you are to the west of a downburst, those winds are going to be coming in from the east. You're going to have your trees that may fall in a westward facing direction. So keep that in mind if you ever get a downburst. Again, everyone thinks, oh, my trees are facing the wrong way. That must be a tornado. Well, you can have downburst winds that do produce tree damage that does face the opposite direction. So latest scan coming in, starting to weaken even more. I don't know if Ryan, you shared the same sentiment here, but I'm starting to see a pretty decent weakening trend with this line.
Yeah, I do. No new outages that are rolling in either that I'm seeing that are of significance. In fact, we're losing outages here. Marquette County, 9 people or 9 customers. Dickinson, Ironbarg is still at 0. So we're
Gogebic
definitely
Gogebic went up from 48 to 57.
yeah, we're on a downtrend though, for sure.
Yeah. Menominee now has 1 outage as well, which is, I guess, within that line of storms. Just barely. Yeah, Marquette's up from 1 to 9, so not a whole lot of outages. Still, severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. You still want to be taking this out of an abundance of caution. It has been trimmed for a bunch of different counties. So Iron, Baraga, you guys are in the clear. Besides this tiny little sliver of northeastern Dickinson County, you're in the clear. And points from Negaunee, Ishpeming, and National Mine and west down towards Republic, Champion, and Michigami. The warning has expired for you guys. It continues from Marquette, Princeton, over towards Dearton, Chatham, and Autrain through, again, 11 a.m. So we got 20 minutes left on the severe thunderstorm warning. We did eclipse the 1,000 outage mark, though, and of course, a lot of these are elsewhere in the state. For example, I see Kent, Monroe, Genesee, Wayne, and Macomb all in the top 10 here. Again, not even close to any outages, likely just assortment of equipment failure or brownouts. Ontonagon County, though, as well as Gogebic and Houghton on the top of the chart with 292, 57, and 49 outages, respectively. Big wind and rain in North Marquette. Appreciate that report. Again, if you have any damage reports to send in, feel free to do so. If you are watching anywhere here in the Upper Peninsula, when it is safe to do so, feel free to send it over our way. Again, Facebook, any one of our comment sections besides the live stream, you can post your pictures in with a time and location as specific as possible. If you got hail, as I continue to remind you guys, any sort of coin or ruler or sports ball next to it would be awesome when comparing hail size. But this hail threat is also on the way out. There's a couple of areas of VIL peaking here up and down the line, but nothing crazy like we were seeing earlier with those DBZ values up around 70. Take a 3D slice in the Marquette area. Yeah, a lot of these cores are barely up to 15,000 feet at the current time, so barely just scraping into that freezing layer that's up there this morning. So once this line gets over into portions of central and perhaps central, Delta, and Elgin counties, these lines should be below severe limits. Again, we're going to be watching very closely. Also still have redevelopment behind it. Some gusty winds ongoing right now across the M38 corridor near the Pelkey region. Also a couple cells up here in the Keweenaw area. It's weird that wind doesn't really line up with the cells per se, but yeah, just be on the lookout. Some gusty winds are ongoing up here, just not severe with those redevelopment or with that redevelopment. But again, this is going to be a threat that should be done here this morning by around 11:30. But they may go ahead and issue one more warning out of abundance of caution, but I imagine they won't because I don't think the National Weather Service Marquette has been getting any damage reports in or wind reports. So, Ryan, if you have any sort of gusts off the NWS Hazards Viewer report, feel free to toss them our way as well. But
Yeah, I'll look here. Give me a second.
yeah, if you're in the Upper Peninsula today, again, not everyone's going to get a severe thunderstorm, but there is a level 3 of 5 risk out there today for severe weather. I'll go ahead and bring in just real briefly. Again, this is our severe weather outlook made in-house here at MSC. We do have a level 4, level 6 in effect for a lot of the Upper Peninsula today, especially central portions of the state, also extending down into northwest lower. This is primarily wind driven. If we go through the hazards here, here's your wind risk. There's a 35 to 64% chance in the orange, with a little bit of a hatched risk there for winds up around 75 possible. 15 to 34% chance in the yellow, 5 to 14% chance in the green, and a 1 to 4% chance in the blue. So pretty much all of Michigan has some sort of chance at severe winds today into the overnight hours. Lesser chances as you get southeast because, again, our instability and general strength just all around will be weakening as these storms move off to the southeast. Tornado probabilities also heightened today across the Upper Peninsula. In the green, we have a 4 to 10% chance, and we also do have a little bit of a 11 to 20% chance sneaking in along the Michigan-Wisconsin border region. There's also a hatched risk on the Wisconsin side of the border for those who are south of the Upper Peninsula. And also in the blue zone, 1 to 3% chance of a tornado, less than 1% in the tan. And also for hail, we do have a 15 to 34% chance of severe hail with a increased chance in 2-inch hail with decent lapse rates settling in later today. So again, these maps are available over on our Facebook page at MI Storm Chasers. Right there.
For the observation map, the highest gust that I see is 47. The next highest gust is 31.
47 would have been in Arnheim.
Chassel. Yeah,
Yeah.
that area. Yeah, yeah.
Got north of Keweenaw
Just
Bay.
south of Chassel.
Yeah, because
Ontonagon gusted to 31.
Yep.
That's all I got.
There is a 60-mile-per-hour report from Chassel, actually. Estimated wind gusts to 60 in Chassel. Pea-sized hail was observed. A report via social media. But yeah, there's your 47-mile-per-hour marine wind gust, 1 mile east-northeast of Arnheim, just north of Keweenaw Bay. Deer Inn should be seeing some of the rain soon. The wind is still, it's kind of riding down the county road BAA, so it's like a sheep. You say ba. County road ba. That's the wind right now, right along the lake shore there. That's also going to be M28 from Harvey over to Deer Inn. There's some wind in there. It doesn't really concern me a whole lot, but again, out of an abundance of caution, there are still downburst signatures where you have these little pockets of 60-mile-per-hour winds that just keep flashing down and in between scans here. So if you're in this orange box, still a good idea to be taking shelter until the orange box does expire for your location. Latest scan continues to downtrend. Love to see it. I just got that reference there in chat. I was saying County Road Ba, and Guy MQT says it leads to the village of Humbug. Ba Humbug. Ironically, because it's also right down the road from Christmas, so a lot of coincidences up here in northern Alger County, I guess. Also, I guess you could call it Marquette County, but yeah. There's also really no change from the Storm Prediction Center side of things this morning, except for the fact that they did add the SIG category Ryan to the tornadoes up into the Upper Peninsula. Everything else remains the same. 30% hatch, 1 for wind, 15% hatch, 1 for hail. They now have 5 hatch for tornadoes. Yeah, the smoke. I know that's still a topic of discussion. We just put out a smoke forecast at 9 o'clock during our severe weather coverage here of the forecast over the next 60 hours. We do expect unhealthy for sensitive individuals type smoke today, primarily between now and the rest of the day. Also kind of lingering into tomorrow morning, primarily through around the 9 to 10 o'clock time frame. And then after that, we should have it clear out. A combination of the rain that's moving through and a little bit of a favorable wind shift. We should see down into the moderate zone, which is just a step above good. And so nothing too crazy out there for smoke as we move beyond Tuesday morning. So that's the current forecast. Of course, things can change. We may have another update tomorrow morning here at MSC. But keep that in mind. Unhealthy for sensitive individuals, that's air quality index of around 100 to 150 today for the entire state of Michigan. So a decent pocket of rain and lightning here in the Princeton area. This is still pretty far outside of Chatham, so about 10 to 15 minutes down the road. Movement still, though, remains about 50 to 55 miles per hour to the southeast. Wind in here could be up around 60 miles per hour, although velocity has not impressed me in the last couple scans. There's another trim of the warning. Marquette, Palmer, Harvey, and Princeton pretty much out of this warning now. Still continues for Kittle Lake. Sorry, that's Little Lake. There's a lightning bolt on top of that. Little Lake, Dearton, and the outskirts of Chatham. Once this warning expires, we'll go ahead and probably hop off for now, take a little bit of a break, and gather our thoughts for perhaps a briefing at 2 o'clock. That's what I kind of have aimed for at the current time. But again, if severe weather is ongoing at 2 o'clock, then it'll just be severe weather coverage. So GR2 still wants a little bit of hail falling across the Farragut County area, especially with the cell in Lance. It's a nice little downpour. Some wind in there still, but still below severe limits. Again, if you know anybody in the Upper Peninsula later today that could benefit from another updated briefing, again, feel free to share our page with them. Again, we're always going to be live during any sort of severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning in the state of Michigan, all 83 counties. Got you covered from beginning to end here at MSC, which is what we're doing here this morning with the severe weather that is ongoing here in the far eastern half of Marquette County. Again, this is on US 41 between Harvey and Trinary right now, which Trinary is the place that got the tornado, the one tornado in the Upper Peninsula so far this year. So right now, no tornadic weather, but again, it's another city that we've mentioned a lot this year here in the state of Michigan when it came to severe weather coverage. We're going to mention it again as this line of strong severe thunderstorms moves your way. However, definitely a weakening trend. You can also just see the general shape of this line of storms. It went from well-defined to this little pocket of heavy rain. It's kind of just pulsing here and there, a little bit of downburst signatures popping in, but nothing of concern at the current time besides what's happening outside of Princeton, where there are some wind pockets here. I'm seeing on radar about 40 to 45, so it's still pretty gusty. Don't want to discredit it. And that is heading towards Chatham and Trinary, and all terrain, if anything. The DTX radar is still down, I believe. According to my radar software, it is. And we are now warning
Probably should check in. Probably should check in with them and see if they're planning on getting that up today.
Yeah, I'll probably do that after the stream is done here. So I'll see this orange box pop off the screen here in just a second. Has not popped off yet. It's popped off on the bottom bar. It has not popped off on my screen. There we go. The statement, or the special marine warning and the severe thunderstorm warning have been canceled at the same time. So the last thing to do here is read off our trusted partners. And I'll go ahead and do that in alphabetical order. Again, our trusted partners are what help keep us funded here at MSC. And at the same time, they are licensed and insured for your convenience. So anytime you have services that need to be done, especially when it comes to storm damage, you can reach out to any one of these trusted partners. First up, we've got A-Class Construction and Restoration, based out of Northwest Lower. American Arbor, based out of Southwest Michigan. Apex Restoration, based out of Genesee County in the Thumb. Battle Creek IT, based out of Battle Creek. Carlton Equipment Company, based out of primarily the Lower Peninsula. Crystal Flash, for all of your fuel propane delivery needs across the state. Inca Media, for all of your digital marketing and website needs. Cat Surfing and Siding, based out of Potterville. Kuiper Tree Care, based out of West Michigan. McKay Tree Specialists, located in Southeast Michigan. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, located in Sanilac and St. Clair counties. On Top Roofing, based out of Livingston County and surrounding areas. Rainbow Restoration, based out of West Michigan. Rapid Radios, also based out of West Michigan, but specializes in walkie-talkies. You can use them anywhere. Great charity to donate to is Ronald McDonald House Charities of Detroit. Surf Pro, covering the entire state 24/7. Storm Guard Metro Detroit North, covering Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw counties. Top Gun Roofing Exteriors, based out of West Michigan. Top Notch Tree Care, located in the Lansing to Jackson corridor. Victor's Home Solutions, located in the Tri-Cities. And of course, PFCU Credit Union, located in multiple spots across the Lower Peninsula. Appreciate all of our trusted partners for supporting what we do and believing in us. Any other sort of information you've seen from behind the scenes, Ryan, or any sort of insight into the later today that you would like to add on? Like a
Not
PSA?
really. I haven't took a good look at models yet, updated or mesoanalysis here. Given that first line wasn't modeled, I'm kind of curious how or if at all it's going to affect later on's risk. So I'm going to dive in to see if I can figure out anything, a personal opinion at least.
Gotcha.
But I have yet to do so.
All right. Well, we will be back. Ideally going for a briefing here at 2 o'clock, weather permitting, of course. But other than that, again, we're going to go ahead and hop off for now. We're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back for more severe weather coverage this afternoon, likely here across the peninsula. It could be Ryan. It could be a long night ahead. So we'll have to maybe prepare ourselves with food and water and a bunch of electrolytes and fuel and stuff like that. So we'll be ready for you guys. Severe weather possible, likely later tonight with that level 4, level 6 risk. If you missed our severe weather outlook, head on over to our Facebook, Instagram, or X page right now. Check it out. Again, our username is MI Storm Chasers. Other than that, we'll likely see you back here soon this afternoon here at MSC for more severe weather coverage. Take care, stay safe, have multiple ways to receive warnings this afternoon if you do have plans, and we'll talk to you guys very soon.